Hey guys, I just finished Luke Cage, and for those who don't know, it is a continuation of the TV series, TV universe that Marvel has been putting out through Netflix. Jessica Jones, Daredevil, both seasons of Daredevil have were predecessors of this. Luke Cage was not featured, but was a main character in the Jessica Jones season of this, I guess, series. Hey guys, let's get started with the actual review. What did I think about it? That's interesting because I really like these seasons, but I just thought it was okay. It was just okay. It had great bits, but for the most part, it was much more hyped than I really thought it deserved. After watching it, I thought Luke Cage had a great background. He's got great presence in the comics themselves. He for a long time he was a side character, the inner city, Captain America kind of thing. But to be honest with you, he was always a really solid character, even when he was a side bit character. And of course, he was in the Avengers at some point in time. Over the years, of course, everybody's been in the Avengers. Heck, I've almost been in the Avengers at some point in time, and I'm not even a superhero. But overall, if you don't want to watch the rest of the video, you don't want to watch the rest of the review, I'd give it a B minus. I think I'm being nice to give it a B minus, but it was just a B minus. And here's why. What I did like is Luke Cage spawned from the creation of black exploitation films in the 60s and 70s. This whole with the whole civil rights movement and everything like that, they needed a good black hero in the comic books, and the comics were on the forefront of that. And 60s and 70s black exploitation films were the thing. I mean, it was a pride thing, So there was a nod to that, which I thought was very evident and very cool. That they gave it, a nod to his history and to where the character came from. I think some scenes were, very cheesy just for that reason. And I think the whole barbershop scene, the whole barbershop area, it very well done. I think it was a little tongue in cheek. I just enjoyed it. I thought it was a good nod to the history of this kind of films. What I liked about Luke Cage as the character is that instead of like with Jessica Jones, where the story was driving the character of Jessica Jones, you really got the sense that Luke Cage, for the most part, was driving the story. And that was good. That there was a good portion of his story that he was in control of and driving, which I liked. I liked the fact that he was able to be a main character and actually be the main character and not just be a character of the story. I also like the fact that he wasn't just a paladin character. They could have easily made him this paladin character who's unstoppable, who's just running through, destroying all the bad guys, and he could have done that, but they made him a little bit more human, even though he's invulnerable for the most part. And I really like the fact that when Marvel does this well, when Marvel gets these superheroes and treats them like humans that have superpowers instead of superheroes that are also human. It's that flip. Superman, the original Superman, he was a superhero first. He's a human or a humanoid second. That's why everybody loves Batman. Batman's a real person. He's a real person first. He's the athletic billionaire who has a fetish for bats later. And that's what you got a sense out of Luke Cage with, is that he was the he's the superhero later. He's a person first. So when he does things, especially when he goes and robs the councilwoman's office and takes the money, he's taking that money for his own selfish reasons. He wants to keep the shop up and running, and he wants to get all of this stuff done. And so he says, well, I know where there's a ton of money that I can go get and nobody's going to make a fuss about it. And he goes and gets it done. And at the same time, he's doing something he feels is good, but, he also has this selfish reason. Another thing I liked about this series is this, again, it's not all about action. They could have easily made this all about him just going in and beating people up and just walking up and just destroying this, destroying everything. And he could have. I mean, he's a powerful enough character that he actually could just go in there and just destroy everything. I also liked the fact that they kind of depowered him a little bit by introducing a weapon. I don't like the fact that they used the Chitauri metal, which, yes, could be in abundance, but they acted like it was super, super rare, but we could provide it to everybody. It wasn't consistent. But that's a bad thing. So let's get off of that for a second. Okay. So another thing I liked about, I liked the Cottonmouth side of the story. I didn't like Cottonmouth the character, and I'll get into that in a second. But the Cottonmouth side of the story I thought was full of intrigue. It was well played out. As far as the councilwoman and him, just the dialogue with Shades and I think and Diamondback, that side of the story for the first 7 or 8 episodes, I thought it was well done. I really liked the Night Nurse. Once they introduced Night Nurse in episode 7 or 8, she really started driving the story, and a lot of things came together with the reintroduction of that character. I don't think it was an excuse driver for the rest of the series, because we know that they're planning on Defenders. We know that they're going to be bringing Iron Fist into this. We know that Punisher is coming. We know that there's another Jessica Jones on the way. And we know that there's a lot of driving factors that could have been an introduction for Night Nurse, but I don't think it came off that way. I think it was just a legitimate storyline. It was a continuation of her storyline from Daredevil. She does pack up and get out of there. And what better way to go than home, which she had already said that she just lived in Uptown, or lived in Harlem before. So it wasn't just a this is a convenient introduction for another character to kind of drive the story. I think her showing up in this role this late in this season of this series was perfect. It really fused everything back together, and I think it actually is what saved this season of the series. So now for the bad, and I'm going to start with the Cottonmouth stuff. Cottonmouth himself, I think he was a super weak villain. They tried to make him the villain of the series. Knowing that they were going to kill him off. Sorry, spoilers. Knowing that they were going to kill him off, but they could have done it better. I just think he was a really weak villain. He started off really strong. I liked him for the first couple of episodes, for the first 1.5 episodes. But I think they really tried to pull it back and not make him a Carlton Frisk, Kingpin type character. He just came off as a pussy, as this manic, indecisive pussy character who's supposed to be this huge crime leader, crime boss. And then towards the end, he starts getting angsty and just all of this oh, woe is me, and I'm just a product of my, of my previous generation, and it just became weak, and it was not enjoyable to watch. When you go back to the end of the day, this is about heroes and villains, and your villains are not supposed to be this weak, pathetic nothing when they are touted as the main villain. So it was disappointing. I think they really could have done that character better, and then introduced the Diamondback character later to further propagate that you killed, you got rid of this guy, but somebody worse is going to come into his place. And I think they could have done that, and made it much more enjoyable to watch that transition, and it would not have felt so just blah. Along with the whole blah thing, Luke Cage himself, about half the time, was a whiny little bitch. He needed justification to use his powers. He was a reluctant superhero. And I know reluctant superhero movies and shows can be done really well. Unbreakable is a perfect reluctant superhero movie. If you ever need to see a perfect superhero movie where it's just the human side of a superhero, Unbreakable, perfect one. But then you get this Luke Cage, storyline, and he's just like, he's whiny about it. It's not that he just doesn't want to use his powers to be, in the limelight. He uses his powers just nonchalantly, but then he's like angsty about it later, and it's just like, first of all, make up your mind on that. Writers, come on. Second of all, don't whine about it so much. Don't be a little bitch about it so much. You're super, super strong. You're almost invulnerable. I mean, come on. I mean, you're Luke fucking Cage. Don't be a little bitch about it. The introduction of Night Nurse, which was amazing. Again, love Night Nurse. Love Rosario Dawson. But the introduction of Night Nurse was the only time that you got a sense of where Luke Cage, the season in this series, really falls into the grand scheme of things. Now, I'm going to tell you, so if you're starting to watch Luke Cage, which I do recommend watching Luke Cage, understand that it is actually after everything. It is in chronological order to the series, or to the rest of the series. So all of this other stuff has happened. Jessica Jones has happened. Daredevil 1 and 2 have happened. Or maybe in the process of happening. But they've happened. And so you do have this chronological stuff. But the first 7 episodes before Night Nurse even appears, you have no idea that this has happened. Luke Cage seems to have amnesia, that he just had this whole, within a year ago, had this whole issue with a guy who could mind control him. And all of these things. I mean, it just seems like it was a bad memory or a dream, or it doesn't even cross his mind until you get to Night Nurse, and then all of a sudden, okay, it fits back in with everything. And then they mention the issue in New York, and now it's several years later. I think that people would have moved on by now, because you've had all the rest of the Avengers movies. You've had all of the Captain Americas and stuff like that, which they refer to somewhat in the previous seasons of this series. The fact that they keep referring to the Avengers, I think that was a hallmark of what comes later with the Chitauri weapon, the bullets that they use to actually pierce him. Spoiler alert again. Going back to the Cottonmouth, that side of the story was super, super slow. The only really redeeming bit of that was the councilwoman and their interaction. I think that was a good interaction. I think it could have been done better, but I think it was a good thing. Now, going back to Diamondback and the character of Diamondback, if they had taken this bastard of a character in Cottonmouth and it was tough and there were consequences, which they alluded to that they could do that, but they never really did it. There were consequences to real, like, human bastard consequences to, tangling with Cottonmouth. And then once you get rid of Cottonmouth, you open up this vacuum for somebody worse to come in, and that was Diamondback, who, while Cottonmouth seemed reserved, in some ways, Diamondback wasn't. So he could actually do things that, like, kill all of the heads of the Harlem crime families, and go in there and just say, "Fuck you all." I'm gonna take over now, and just take over and be this crime boss that y'all just couldn't, and make even more consequence for Luke Cage to do his stuff. I mean, I'm going after Luke Cage, but at the same time, Luke Cage can't stop me, because if he tries to stop me, I'm going to just make it worse for him, and more bad things are going to happen if he tries to do stuff, and I'm going to make that whole humanistic side, cave in, because I'm just going to destroy the world around you. If I can't kill you, I'm going to destroy everything around you. So I think that would have been a better way to approach the Diamondback Cottonmouth transition. The way they did it just made Cottonmouth seem just pathetic, and they pulled back on Diamondback, and they made Diamondback angstful and pathetic as well. And it was this whole, like, my dad didn't love me. It's like, come on, seriously. I mean, it's like, you're my brother, and my dad didn't love me because he loved you more. Who gives a shit? Yes, those are humanistic driving factors, but let's not pretend that they were contrived and angstful and they were just bullshit. Not what you want to see in a superhero series that you're from Marvel. Everything was predictable. There was not one single thing that just made me go, wow. Oh, no, I take that back. The hammer weapon, when he first introduced being able to punch through somebody, I thought that was, okay, it's like, oh, okay, finally something exciting. And then it went nowhere, which was unfortunate. But that was one thing that was exciting, but that was it. Everything was predictable. Everything followed along this timeline that was just like, I see where it's going. And unfortunately, it's not going in a great direction. And I'm like, I suffered through some of the episodes just to suffer through them. The last 4 episodes, though, made the series for me. But they were really, really fast. That was the best part of the storyline, but it took forever to get there. It took 9 episodes to get to the last 4 episodes. And they weren't even enjoyable 9 episodes. They were, and they weren't even building to that per se. They were off in La La Land, and just happened to be a building block to these last 4 episodes that were really good episodes. And I think the end really gave it, like, when I give it a B-, that's what gives it a B- is the last 4 episodes. And I think those were really good. But even there, everything was still really predictable. A cliffhanger teaser scenes that is just completely predictable. I mean, you know what's happening. You know what's going to happen. You see it and you're just like, oh, okay. Yeah. I saw that coming. That's just stupid. It was just retardedly predictable. And I hate saying that over and over and over and over again, but it was just predictable. Yeah, you guessed it. If this was the first season of this series, and I hadn't seen Daredevil, or I hadn't seen Jessica Jones, or the Daredevil season 2, I would have thought that this was an A- show. Honestly, the quality of those 2 other seasons just made this impossible to give a good review. It just didn't hold up to the rest of it. I would definitely recommend this to my friends. I'm recommending it to you. I'm giving it a B-. That's a recommendation. But I think you should watch the others. First, I think you will find that you'll be disappointed in Luke Cage. I'm disappointed in Luke Cage. This could have been so much better. But it wasn't, so now I'm excited to see what comes with Punisher. And hopefully it's a really, really good thing. Alright, well, tell me what you guys think. Tell me if you guys agree or disagree with me. As always, thank you for watching, and goodbye.